Hi everyone, I hope you liked my last video and I hope you had a wonderful day because today is gonna get heavy. So I want to talk about a conversation that I've touched on before, but not in this detail. Now today's conversation, and I've prepared some notes, so don't mind me looking down, is entitlement of men regarding women's bodies. Now I'm somebody who I've seen East and I've seen West. I've seen both sides of the aisle. And trust me, it's worse in the East. And especially when the East comes to the West with their East ideas, aka backwards, uncivilized ideas, it gets worse. So I grew up in an Islamic country. I've been to another Islamic country, so from Afghanistan to Pakistan, I've been to Iran. It was a very short period. And I've seen how women have been treated by men using religion. Now, religion is the best invention out there for men, by men, for men. Now, let me give you an example from Afghanistan. Then we can move to the West. Now, in Afghanistan, child marriages are the norm. Now, some people would say, oh, but it happened in the Middle Ages, or it happened in the 70s and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it happened. It doesn't happen anymore. The conversation is that it happens today. And the only difference is one side has changed and the other side is stuck in the 7th century following an illiterate man who married a child. So, first point, child marriages. Second, of course, those marriages are forced, plus women who are not children are also forced married. Third, female genital mutilation. Fourth, honor killing, or so-called honor killing. I say so-called honor because there is no honor in killing women. You're not a man if you do that. You're just a pathetic excuse of a human being who has a tiny D with a giant ego. So, next one, that is the sexual harassment, the abuse, the child abuse that goes on. Now, I give you an example, and I came across a posting today, and it really, of course, affected me. Who wouldn't be affected by this? And it was about a little girl in the UK who was legally punished by her father, or so-called father, and she ended up dead. Well, that wasn't the only thing he did. He did way more. And legally punished is justified by religion once again. Men using religion to take it out on children and women. And just reading the gruesome details about how this little girl was treated just boils my blood. Sometimes I do wish there was capital punishment for such people. Now, when I read those details, it reminded me of what I've witnessed. I give you one example. In Afghanistan, the neighbors' daughters, they apparently misbehaved, did something. Kids can be mischievous, whatever. When a child is being naughty, you talk to the child, you help them understand why they are making a mistake without using violence. It's so surreal when just talking to you about this. And the neighbor burnt her daughter's back with a hot iron to punish them so that they learn their lesson not to do it again. And I remember hearing their screams. And then guess what? After that, we were told, so those of us who heard those screams and were living in these quarters were told that if we don't behave and we are not good little girls sitting down and shutting up and following everybody and nodding our heads, not raising our voices, no dancing, no singing, just being well-behaved Muslim girls. If we are like that, we are fine. But if we do anything that is haram, we will have the same fate as these sisters who had their backs burnt by their mother. That is child abuse. And there is no justification in this barbaric behavior. So, the second thing is marriages. Now, back in the days, also in Europe, it was no different, of course, because religion, once again, playing a role in trying to take control over women's bodies and deciding their life. Now, I remember when I was in school, there was a conversation we had. It was an English class, and it was about arranged marriages versus love marriages. Which one is better? Now, I wasn't sure back then. I think I was even for arranged marriages. This is the way I was brainwashed, that a woman's worth is when a family decides for her. And they try to whitewash it, that the girl will see the groom and they will have a conversation and blah, blah, blah. It's not like back in the days where you didn't even know the guy. How nice. How wonderful is that? Now I get to see him and I choose from A, B, C. What a choice, right? Unfortunately, this is forced marriage. This is barbaric. Now, I escaped forced marriage. I wasn't married, but I was going to be married. And the same, A, B, C, D. Now, I was already 19 years old, and 19 is considered old in these barbaric, uncivilized cultures. And guess what? I ran away. Thank goodness I had respect for myself to say enough is enough. I'm going to do what I want with my body. So, that's the other aspect. Marriages, often used to control women too. And there are those who say, yeah, they fell in love and blah, blah, blah. I'll give you an example from Love is Blind, the US version. You see sometimes that the men, they go to the father or the mother, if they don't have fathers, and they ask for their daughter's hand in marriage. And my first thought is, who are you? Who are you to even have a say in who your daughter wants to marry? If your daughter wants to marry A, then you better accept that if you want to keep your daughter around. If you don't, she's out of the door. And she should be out of the door because she is not cattle. She is not a piece of furniture that you trade. And this is what it comes down to. Women being treated as property to be discussed over. Her worth. Your daughter is not a house. And your daughter is not a piece of furniture. This is why I'm against asking for anybody's hand in marriage. The moment you fall in love, the moment you choose somebody to be your life partner, that's where it stops. And your family should support you if your family is decent. If they're not, get a new family. So, that's one aspect of it. Blind Dubai, it is worse. The way the men look down on women, so much disdain, so much hate for women. And it has to do with the religion too. And talking about women as if they are some cattle, once again. And second thing, the one girl whose family, were living in Canada, and her sister had to step in to talk with the parents. Here again, women tolerating this stupid behavior. Who are you? Really, who are you? If you love your daughter, you accept what she wants to do with her life and who she wants to be with. That's it. And if you don't, then you are not the right family for her. Not the other way around, that the groom is not the right for her. It is that she needs a new family. Now, with Love is Blind Dubai version, it's no different. In fact, it's worse. It is worse because these men are living in the 7th century. One example, this guy, a dentist, he doesn't want a woman to dance, but he is shirtless in the sea, posing for the camera. It's the stereotypical male misogynistic behavior, telling women what to do with their bodies. No different than the Taliban. In fact, these entitled men share a lot with the Taliban. Sexual harassment. We've seen it everywhere. Mostly it's men harassing women, and sometimes it's men harassing men. Sexual harassment at workplace, sexual harassment at you name it, at your or community center, sexual harassment by your relatives. And this is often a case. Usually it's the closest people who will hurt you the most. So the next point is control in relationships. Now, this can happen to anyone, regardless of your religious background. And it often starts with small things, red flags. You need to watch out for them. You need to have a list of questions, and if they have to answer those questions, yes or no, what they think, to find out who they are. Because if a man tells you, you know what, I like women with long hair, they look so beautiful. Or I like women with short hair, they look so beautiful. Who cares if you like women with short or long hair? Nobody asked you. You accept, if you like somebody, you like them for who they are and how they are, not about the length of their skirt or the length of their hair. And the other thing is, of course, clothes. Can we, we're visiting my family, can you look a little bit respectful? What the hell does that mean? Why don't you look respectful and wear a burqa? How about that? But they don't like that. They don't like to be told what to do. So, you know what? Get a new boyfriend. That's it. Period. Next conversation. The online misogynistic culture. And often it's the keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors who have nothing better to do with their lives. So they look at women and they comment on them and about their choices. For example, why they don't have kids, why they have kids, why they're showing this much, why is their belly sticking out, why are their thighs like this, you name it. It's ridiculous. Then there is the other misogynistic online culture by women. And by that, I mean that I've seen a trend of women showing a traditional housewife lifestyle where how nice it is to be a housewife, how they cook for their husbands, how they dress in gym, that I wear now joggings that are white pants, and they don't want to wear tight leggings because, I have so much respect for myself. Nobody gives a shit what you wear at the gym. Let's be honest. If you're so worried about what people think, then don't go to the gym, because people want to do their workout and they don't care about what you do as long as you don't make noise and take other people's areas. But I've seen this often, and it's also from Muslim women, and about how beautiful it is that they cover their hair now and blah, blah, blah. There are girls out there who are being forced to wear the hijab. How about a little bit of empathy and sympathy for them? There are girls out there and women out there murdered for a strand of hair. How about a little bit of space for that? But you know what? They don't give a shit. And you know what? I don't give a shit about them if they were dying in front of me. That's why I find it ridiculous when I see their stories and I see their reels. And I sometimes leave a comment about how they are trying to promote a misogynistic, oppressive clothing while women are being murdered in Afghanistan and Iran. I want them to see those comments. And we need to call this out. We need to call out this misogynistic clothing. And by clothing, I mean anything that is based on an ideology, often created by men, to control women in the name of God or whatever you want to name it. Next thing is reproductive rights. I mean, reproductive rights, how many times do we have to talk about this? Men have no say over what women do with their bodies. Whether it's having an abortion, having kids, you name it, it's their choice to decide when they will abort. Next is objectification in media. Now, this one is a tricky one. Often I'm told that because of my line of work, I show my skin, I work in the area I work in, that I am objectifying myself. I have turned myself into an object. And that I should cover. And I have to laugh at that because it's so ridiculous. It couldn't be further from the truth. There is no ideology behind me showing my skin and having pleasure on camera. There is an ideology telling women to cover themselves and to behave in a certain way. Now, there are some feminists who are like this, who say she went from one slavery to the next slavery. You have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, you have no idea what slavery means. You don't know what women go through in countries like Afghanistan and Iran. So you can sit down. And the second thing is, yes, I'm talking to them in a condescending manner because this is the way they talk with us. So I will give you the same treatment you give to us. And the second thing is that they share a lot with the Taliban. The Taliban also don't want women showing their bodies for the male gaze, as they call it, and to behave, in a different manner, how you expect women to behave. And these are the same people who are against porn, using protection, and yeah, we want to think about women's rights, and that, in a capitalist world, you are selling yourself. Everybody's a what? Everybody. Whether you work in a hospital, you're a nurse, 12 hours shift, you're a slave. If you're working as an assistant at some lawyer's office, you're a slave. If you're the lawyer, you're a slave for your job, and you're a whore because you offer a service and you get paid for it, and you use your body to get that. The only thing is that we got better deals and we know what we're doing and we choose and have pleasure while doing it. That's the only difference. And the other thing is just, the cultural norms surrounding how women should behave. And one thing I want to touch on is that people think, because of my line of work, that my legs are spread wide open, and when I'm shooting with a photographer, he thinks, would she do it for me? Yeah, I can make content for your sites, the two of us, you don't have to show my face. Listen, we don't even need to go in that conversation. You booked me for a nude shoot, we're gonna have a nude shoot, and that's where we leave it. There is a red line. If I need a male actor for my videos, I will look for one. But I don't need these. I got plenty. So, toxic masculinity. Oh my God. So, this is basically, throughout all the points that I've mentioned, it touches on toxic masculinity. And what I can just say is that there are men who are victims of this. They grow up in a certain environment, treating women a certain way. But that is not an excuse to be a D. That is really not an excuse. My husband, he grew up in a toxic masculine environment with a misogynist as a father. And he still didn't turn out as a D, because he is an individual at the same time who can think for himself, who can stand up for women. The same in Iran. There are men out there protesting women life freedom. They are protesting for this movement, risking their lives, standing alongside Iranian women. Those are the real men. Those are the ones who have the balls and who should be celebrated. And if you're a man and you don't stand up for women, and you don't stand up for yourself at the end of the day too, and have some respect for yourself, then nothing can change. And this video wasn't to bash men, all men. There are good men out there. But unfortunately, the majority of men are allowed to continue and behave in that way. For example, a guy makes a joke at an office and you laugh along that joke instead of saying, hey dude, don't behave like that. That is a deep behavior. Don't do that. Men should hold other men accountable, and women should hold other women accountable. Because truth be told, my mother is no different than my father. She is as misogynistic towards women. And I've seen other women being so hateful towards other women. And this comes down to entitlement and power, having power of another being. So, rant is over. No, I want to touch on those topics because I just thought that, we see this so much. And I just want to tell you that if you're watching this, regardless of whether you're a woman or a man or whatever, just to stand up for what is right in a respectful manner, and not to accept entitlement from anyone, whether it's your boss, whether it's your wife, whether it's your husband, whether it's your brother. And have some courage. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. And I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you liked the content. And I wish you a lovely week and see you next time. Take care.